Hi, I'm Nina Jurczynski reporting from Chimacum, Washington. I'm here with Tom J. How did you get started?
Well, when I was a kid, I was a pretty wild kid, got in a lot of trouble and stuff, got kicked out of college and sort of took up a vagabond life, and then I'd come back to school and then I'd quit again or they'd kick me out, that kind of stuff. So I'd come back to school the third time, a little college in Southern California, and I decided I was going to be a painter, so I was painting. I was a terrible painter, really bad. And so one day I'd gone down from the painting studio and I was smoking a cigarette and I heard this roar across the way, and it was the ceramic studio. People were there, And I thought, man, that must be some kind of kiln or something, And so I kept looking over there and trying to see it, and then this pot of metal came up out of this round thing like a furnace, like what we've got there. And I knew immediately, I said to myself, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I'm supposed to do. So I went and talked to the professor. It was a GI Bill guy named Mac. Got his MFA on the GI Bill. He was a vet in World War II. And I said, Mac, I got to take your class. This is just too cool. And he said, yeah, I'd like you to take the class, but you don't have all the prerequisites. It take you 2 years to get the prerequisites because you filed up so much already, You don't have much of a start. And he said, besides, your parents are going to have to pay a lot of money for this, But he said, there is another idea. There's a guy who just came back from Italy who did sculpture casting in a little place outside of Rome, and he's going to build an Italian-style foundry, and he's going to need an apprentice. So he said, if you go beg him, maybe you can get the job. So I went and begged him. His name was Eddie. We called him Fast Eddie. He was an old golden-haired surfer boy. In fact, he starred in a lot of early surfing movies, Bruce Brown movies. He was, doing all this stuff. Anyway, he was a really good teacher. He taught me all the stuff it was all fresh in his mind from being in Italy. And so after about 2 years, I figured I knew enough to get in trouble, and I left and I went back to Seattle because I promised my parents I'd finish my degree, and I enrolled in Seattle U, but I had assumed that they would have a foundry, and they didn't. So I told the prof, I said, well, I'll build you a foundry, for nothing, if you buy the materials. So we built him a foundry, and so we poured metal the last year I was there. It was a lot of fun. It was great. And then the University of Washington found out that I'd built this foundry for Seattle U, and they came to me and said, well, we need you to build a foundry for us because we don't have a foundry either. So I said, sure, I'll do it. Can I take classes there for nothing if I'm an employee? And they said, yeah, you can do that. So I worked there for about 3 years and built the shop and helped the kids with their casting, and it was a good job. I didn't have to teach. I just kind of had to facilitate and maintain equipment. But then after about 3 years, I'd had enough of. There's a lot of backbiting in university politics, and I got my MFA, and then I kind of thought, I don't want to teach. I don't want to have somebody skulking around saying bad things about me just because they're insecure. So I said, I'll just start a foundry like Eddie did, and I'll cast. So I was the only foundry in the Northwest, and so I got business from San Francisco, Oregon, Alaska, BC, and so it was pretty easy to make a nice living. I just had a one-person shop for quite a while. An early apprentice was a guy named Alan Osborne who left after about a year, and he went down and started a foundry in San Jose. And he became a very big, famous foundry guy down in the Bay Area. He was a Vietnam vet. Happiest guy I ever met. It seemed like he was just so glad to be alive because he was in the real bad place. Yeah. But he was just happy guy. I set up the business, started practicing, and And then one by one I hired guys, and it ended up that after about 10 years I had 5 guys working here, and we were doing really big monumental pieces and just going full tilt. And we went full tilt for about another 15 years, and then I sold the business to the workers, and that didn't work out so well. Anyway, so we got the foundry back, and I was in despair, kind of I was expecting this check to keep coming, and, we could have some income. And but Sarah just said, no, look you know how to do all this stuff. Build another foundry, build another furnace, build another kiln. We'll teach classes, we'll cast our own work, we'll sell it. Don't worry about it, So I kind of went, okay, I'll do it, Sarah. Wah. But it worked out fine,
That's so great that you have a teammate.
She's my total best teammate, yeah.
That's such an awesome couple. Why did you come to Port Townsend, or Chimacum, I guess?
Well, one summer I was fishing in Alaska with an old friend on a troller, and we stopped in here on the way up and on the way back, and we just took a little drive, and the fisherman's wife met us, and we took a little drive around the country, and we said, this is a nice place, And then about a year later, he said, why don't we buy some land together up there? And I just happened to have a little cash, and he was a fairly wealthy guy, actually. So we bought 25 acres at the end of the Van Trojan Road, and later on we divided it up. But so I had 12 and a half, and he had 12 and a half. But it's been a beautiful place to raise a family and to live, and we built the foundry later. I used to take all the work down to, there's a woman who was a great art supporter, wonderful person named Mary Johnson. And she let me use her barn for nothing. So, yeah, that was cool. So anyway, that's how I got here. And then Sarah started a salmon group, and we got really involved in salmon restoration and celebration. She used to have these big these big salmon festivals that were outrageous. We had costumes and great fun stuff. Theater, we put on salmon theater, Rodney the River Knight, and Dark Waiter. We had funny, goofy times. But anyway, all that was a lot of fun. But now we just make sculpture and teach our class, and I still really like it, So I've been doing it for almost 46 years, I think. Wow. Yeah, so, yeah.
When you made that giant salmon, did you envision children climbing around in it?
Oh, the fiberglass one? Yeah, oh yeah, that was what it was for.
Oh, that's what it was for.
Oh yeah.
Cool. I played in that when I was a child. It was really cool. Thank you guys for watching. Reporting from Chimacum, Washington, the heart of the dragon, and I'll see you guys next time.